Am I a monster? I'm gonna let you be the judge of that. What you think? Am I a monster?
Tell me what you see when you look at me. Am I a monster? Am I a monster? What you say? Tell me what you see when you look at me. Am I a monster? Am I a monster? Let me know, let me know. Ay, they tried to bury me alive for 28 summers. They tried to make the whole world think that I'm a monster. They tried to label me a ringleader, that's a lie. They wanted me behind the walls until the day I died. But God seen different, gave me a second chance. Walked out of prison with a plan, now I'm a changed man. Even though I did wrong, but I took care of my people. And I know they're still around if I ever need them. Homicides that I witnessed, but I stayed silent. Witness to the violence, product of my environment. Every prison I done touch, I done left a mark. Good guy in the day, a demon after dark. I done stabbed, I've been stabbed like 23 times. 60 victims in the pen cause they crossed the line. I was ready for whatever, didn't care about a number. Protecting me and what I love. Am I a monster?
Am I a monster? What do you see when you look at me? Do you see the devil or do you see God in me? A product of my environment, just trying to survive. Doing whatever it takes to stay alive.
Hello, I'm Sebastian Richardson, also known as Bam Bam. I live in a place called Shreveport, Louisiana, where I was born and raised, and I was also raised in an area named The Bottom. The Bottom was a red light district, and it had a club on almost two clubs on almost every corner. It was one of the only red light districts in Shreveport, Louisiana, that was populated with bars, illicit drugs, and a lot of other prostitution and all types of things because the politicians that be at the time seemed better fit to turn a blind eye to it in that poor urban area for the illicit behavior to take place so that it didn't ruin the whole Shreveport, Louisiana. So I became a product of that. So my life is like an oxymoron and a jumble of a whole lot of things that I'm sure a lot of other people went through just as I did. So let's hear my story and let's see where the comparison come in at. I was born to the union of Howard Richardson and Ellen Richardson was my mom. And there she, as living in the Bottom, a lot of good people stayed in there, but also a lot of bad things went on down there. She did her best. She sent me to private school. My father got killed when I was 3 years old, and that had a profound effect on me. So I let the negativity took a strong hold on me, and it was actually an oxymoron to be living in such a illicit, negative environment and be sent to private school, and that affected my growth. It caused me to be angry at times that other people were living way above the poverty line, and I was around them every day. And then I come back home, but I still find the poverty all around me, and people doing the best they can with what little they have. And I've seen the out in being part of it opposed to being against it because there was no other avenues open for us at that particular time, and people in that particular neighborhood was not exposed to positive things in which you could actually make a living out of.
I'm Bam Bam Sebastian Richardson's sister. It's Jacqueline Stafford. I'm his eldest and only sister, the matriarch of the family, they tell me. I live here in Shreveport, Louisiana. I've lived here my whole life. I was 63 years. I went to Notre Dame High School, which was a private Catholic high school. Before then, elementary school, I went to Lee's Private, which was a private-owned high school by Miss Maddie Pearl Lee that was down in the area by the police department. I also worked for the police department for 28 years and retired from there 3 years ago. I have one son, Carlos Lamont Stafford. I was married to my husband, John Henry Stafford, for 30 years. I'm from basically from the bottoms. I'm from the bottoms area. That's where we were raised up. We went there when my mom separated from my dad, and we went there to live. And it was kind of impoverished area, but our mom used to always tell us we may have to live here, but we don't have to act like it. And we will not become part of the system there. I remember when Bam was born, we called him Deary for a long time. And as he grew up, he began to beat on things and beat on the furniture. So we started calling him Bam Bam after the little boy on the Flintstones. There was a little guy on the Flintstones that had the little club. And that was where we termed Bam Bam from with that, because he liked beating on things as well. Bam Bam was a very handsome baby, pretty baby. And everyone grew to love him. But he was always extremely intelligent, even as a small child, and older people was always drawn to him. I think it was his wisdom. He was always told that he was a lot above his age. He had like a mindset of an adult already. He didn't say very much, but it was the way that he always carried himself. And all the older people in the neighborhood was always drawn to him. He had tons of fathers and mothers, and they all just took Bam Bam in and just loved on him, because he was just such a lovable person. He didn't say a whole lot, but everything that he was spoke volumes about him. He was just different. He was just always different. And everybody loved him, and he showed forth that kind of love too. He was very caring. He was always a very caring person. He got baptized about 6 times. He received Jesus a lot of times. That I do remember. Matter of fact, just about every summer we went to the country, he got saved. I met a man not too long ago at a church, and he told me, he said, "Hey, I was one of the deacons that baptized Bam Bam one of them times." We laughed about it. I said, "Yeah, because he got baptized many times." Then he said, "Yeah." I said, and the Lord still got his hands up on him. Because I was the eldest, I was always at the house. I was not allowed. We were actually not allowed to go outside the yard. We were supposed to stay in the yard. But our mom had to work because she was a single parent. So I had to stay in the house and watch the house. But Bam Bam and my brothers would go out, and they'd be going around the neighborhood. So that's why everybody got to know them. And I got to be known as Bam Bam and Howard's sister, because they would get out, and they were wrong when Mama would go to work. They get out and wrong when they go and meet everybody. Bam knew everybody. Everybody, Mama, they did it, everybody. He knew all families. I didn't know a whole lot of people because I had to stay at the house and watch the house while Mama was at work. I guess you could say I was the caregiver for the family while she was away at work. But they kind of roamed and they sneaked out while Mama was at work. And so they got to know everybody, and everybody got to know them. And along there, they got into with some older people that led them into some things that kind of pulled them astray for a while. Then they began to get into things, and Mom had to pull back, and as they started getting into stuff, then the courts began to tell us that we had to do something different. And but they were good boys. They were good boys. Our mama raised us well, and she gave us great values and things to follow. Even though we was in the bottom, Mama always told us that we were not going to look like it, because we were not allowed to have our yard dirty. We couldn't have screens hanging off. We kept extra screen to keep the screen doors fixed. We had to keep our yard clean, and that was one of her biggest things. We may have to live here, but we do not have to look like it, and we will not. She fought hard to keep the bottom from conforming us to their ways. She really did. She fought hard to keep from doing that, because we were sent to private schools. We lived in the bottom, but we went to private school. And I know with me, some of the children said we thought we was better than everybody else because we went to private school. And I used to tell them, I don't think I'm better. My mama do.
I guess you could say I've been exposed to violence since I was a baby. I mean, you hear the gunshots, you hear people getting shot out there, and especially on the weekends. You hear people out there shooting and running and hollering and screaming. And then again, at 3 years old, when the lady come knock on the door beating and screaming that my father had been killed, had been shot in the back of the head in his car. So, I mean, that's an early exposure. But at the time, I probably was actually actually participated or actually was 8 years old when a friend of mine's an old head named Slim who used to take me around with him and everything like that. Him and the guy were chasing each other around his truck. They said it was over a lady. They were chasing each other around the truck, and as they were running around circles of truck, the guy stopped and Slim kept running, and the dude turned around and shot him and blew half of his head off, and he laid there bleeding. And they had so much blood they had to get the fire department to clean up the street. And then I seen my old head, another old head of mine's, AJ. Guy called him the wrong thing. He jumped the fence, came over, stepped over to the guy, put the gun against his head, and I'm sitting there looking at all of it and shot him in the head. The guy lived. I walked up on Preacher's body. They had me, I went and seen Preacher's body. I came by the guy's house looking for him, and he was in the house dead. Couldn't have been no more than 8 or 9 at that time. I seen an old head of mine used to take me around a lot. I seen him shoot a dude for calling him the wrong thing, and I mean I seen a homeboy of mine. He wasn't much older than me at the time. I guess if I was 8 or 9, he had to be about 16. And I watched him jump up in the crowd, and I mean actually jumping over the crowd, shot a dude and shot him until he unloaded the gun and killed him. So then I seen at 13, I remember 12 or 13. My auntie, her and her old man got into it, and he tried to grab the gun and he tried to shoot her and everything. So she ended up shooting him. And when she ran from their house up to my house with my mom, and she ran up there and told mama that he had been shot. And so my mama sent me down there to see was he all right. So when I go down there, he was laying across the bed dead. So I've been. And I mean, it's many more stories, and I probably seen at the time between being 8 years old to probably 15, 16, I seen at least eight, 9 dead bodies of murder. So it was just, I mean, that's the life. That was the life of being in the bottom. I mean, it was a hell of a red light district, and there was always something going on. You either had to stand up, be able to protect what you had. The violence was necessary because you had to either protect what you had to keep somebody from taking it, or protect what you love. And so therefore you had to learn, you had to make the decision, which one of these things gonna be pliable to my future. You know what I'm saying? Do I go with being violent, or do I go with losing whatever I got? Because if you can't protect what you got, or you can't keep what you got down there, somebody was gonna try to take it.
My dad got killed when I was 9 years old. He looked. We didn't spend a whole lot of time with him. After he and my mom broke up, he would come to weekends and get us, but we didn't spend a whole lot of time because he'd actually come and get us and drop us off at somebody else's house and go on. He was our dad. Bam looks just like him. Most of the stuff I know is what I heard about him or things that he did. He was out there because he wasn't from the bottoms, but he was in the bottom also. They used to call it they had another name for it then. It was down in the bottoms area though. It's where he got killed at. And as a matter of fact, his best friend shot him in the back of the head while he was driving. It had an effect on my brother Howard. More so, Ben was very young, and it had more of an effect on my brother Howard. That caused him to want to retaliate and do a whole bunch of. As I'm sure Ben, I was not familiar with my brother doing a whole lot of quote unquote things. I remember I was at Church's Chicken one night. I had gotten off of work, and this young man, I can't think his name now, Bam. He come up to me, and because I was in uniform. He laughed. He said, "You mean to tell me how Bam Bam's sister gonna be a police officer?" I said, "What Bam Bam's sister got to do with Bam Bam? I'm his sister. I ain't Bam Bam." And all the people around laughed. And I think Bam Bam was a pretty good old guy. He was my brother. I didn't know. I ain't asking no questions. I'm assuming that he reacted to something that maybe he knew about Bam Bam or something. I didn't get what he was saying about it. I was his sister. I wasn't him. But it like to him, he thought that was a funny thing. How Bam Bam's sister gonna be a police officer? What? And then I remember afterwards, after I got the job, I can see now how, cause I had to go before the chief, and obviously, cause now I'm not knowing all this stuff about Bam Bam, all this crazy stuff they made. Like, well, I ain't saying made. The Bam Bam was supposed to. But I wasn't aware of all that stuff. And so when I got the job at the police department, well, Bam had been to jail before, after the and all that little stuff. But I never really paid that kind of stuff no attention. Cause for one thing, I knew Bam Bam. I knew the heart of Bam Bam. I knew both my brothers, Howard too. And I knew the heart of Howard. And I knew that Bam Bam was not like that. My brother Howard, and Howard may have been that way because Howard was more experienced with our father's killing, and the fact that it was his best friend that shot him in the back of the head. And I think that had an effect on Howard that caused him to get some crazy things and do some crazy stuff. But I never saw it affecting Bam Bam like that. So I knew the difference between Howard's heart and Bam Bam's heart. And I know that Bam was, not Bam was kind of like me. I know he was kind of sensitive to people and all. He always liked to do good. Not talking to blasting Howard, but Howard was a scam booger. I trust him as far as I could throw him. I loved him though, but I trust him as far as I could throw him. So I didn't, when the man was making, when I went to see, I had to go to the captain when I got hired. I had to go before them, and they asked me, was I still in, because I think Ben was in jail this time. They asked me, was I still in contact with my brother? And I said, yeah, he still writes. And so he said, well, they asked me, they said, well, you know, he's been known to fool affiliate with some things. I said, yeah, I heard about it. I said, but I don't affiliate with him. I don't see what that has to do with me and my qualifications for the job. Because the references that I got, they declared was over and above and beyond for the job. So I didn't understand what it was that whatever they were saying that Ben was supposed to do had to affect me. But I had to, I think they had me to sign some papers or something they had me to do saying that I wasn't involved in none of the, I can't remember, I don't want to, but they had me to sign some stuff saying that I wasn't into any kind of drugs or any kind of thing like that, and that I hadn't been into any of the kind of things that Bam was supposed to have been mixed up in.
These are the documented and authentic transcripts of grand jury indictment and trial of the United States versus Sebastian Bam Bam Richardson, alleged leader of Shreveport's Ledbetter Heights legendary Bottom Boy. These are the witnesses presented by United States Grand Jury Violent Crimes Unit. Witness 40, formerly a member of the Bottom Boys. Witness number 40, who was paralyzed from waist down, stated that after violating rules set forth in the Bottoms, Bam Bam approached him and shot him in both legs, causing him to collapse and fall to the ground. Bam lifted his head, shoved a gun in his mouth, said, "You know the consequences of violating Bottom Boy rules. Your coward action could have gotten a lot of homies killed. Nobody ever gets left behind." One of the homies pleaded with Bam to spare my life. Bam then took my .38 revolver and instructed me to leave the bottom and never to be seen in that part of town again. Witness number 53. Witness number 53 testified while out on two opposing bonds, one for $1 million, the other for $1.5 million, stated that he was seen exiting the federal building after a probation check-in. Approximately 1 week later, Bam Bam Richardson pulled up to his restaurant and insisted he get into his vehicle and drove him to a convenience store on Pier Avenue, walked him in at gunpoint to a small, dim-lit room in the back, where he proceeded to interrogate me and inquire whether or not I was a rat. He then walked me back out to the car, where he opened the trunk, showed me a trunk filled with high-powered rifle, automatic weapon, and various other guns, including automatic shotgun known as a street sweeper. Bam Bam was known to carry a street sweeper. After showing me these guns, he said, "You know what I'm gonna do if I find out you're a rat." and you know I do what I say I'ma do.
September 16, 1994, I was 29 years old when the federal government kicked my door in. They kicked my door in and they charged me and 13 other homeboys with the RICO and the VICO. I was charged with one of the leaders as being the leader of the conspiracy with the RICO charge, and I was also charged with being the enforcer in the conspiracy, in which they were steady trying to pin different. They tried to pin 4 bodies on us in the case, and all kind of crazy things. Everything that they had open, they was trying to basically give it to us. Our trial lasted for about 33 days. It took us a year before we could finally get our trial date. So we was in jail, locked up, going back and forth to court for about a year. And then we finally got our time in a year. And me, myself, we was all sent dispersed away from each other. They tried to keep us all away from each other. I ended up going to, a lot of them went to FCIs. I ended up going to USP Florence Penitentiary. I only went to penitentiaries in Supermax. I went to USP Florence Penitentiary. I was at USP Florence Penitentiary for 2 years. And I was there 2 years, and I ended up getting assault for stabbing a guy and assault on the police. And I was shipped to USP Leavenworth, one of the oldest penitentiary it was at that time, 106 years old. I was at USP Leavenworth for 5 years, and I ended up getting a charge for stabbing a guy 13 times. So therefore, I was shipped to Supermax Marion. I was in Supermax Marion for 5 years, in which I found it of good conduct. I left there and I got sent back to USP Pollock. While I was at USP Pollock in Louisiana for about 7 months, then I ended up being involved in group disturbance on the yard in which we stabbed 13 different individuals, and I was shipped from there to Lewisburg Penitentiary. I was at Lewisburg the first time for about two months. I ended up getting assault, fighting on the hallway, and then eventually intimidating a staff member, intimidating and threatening a staff member, and then it concluded with me getting shipped for stabbing my cellie, tying my cellie up and stabbing him, and I got shipped to Canaan. I got shipped to USP Canaan, where I only lasted there 2 months, but I got into it, and I got teamed and got into it with the staff, and they decided they didn't want me there. So I was then sent to USP West Virginia, Hazleton in West Virginia, which is where Whitey Bulger came and got killed. I was on the compound for about 3 months, and then I ended up catching a charge for assaulting the officer while he was choking an individual. So I stayed in the hole 18 months going back and forth to court, and I was indicted for assault on the officer in the process of his duty, and they found a knife, 2 knives in my cell, so I was facing 30 years for the assault on officers and 5 years for the knife. I ended up got 3 years for that, and then I turned around. I was shipped back to Lewisburg that had became a special management unit where they was keeping you locked down 22 hours a day. And so I was there, and during the time I was there, that's when my lawsuit came into force, where they kept me in restraint for 40 days because I wouldn't hurt a mental patient who they tried to put in the cell with me because 5 people had been killed in the 1 year that I had been there because they was taking rivals and putting them in the cell with each other. When one rival killed the other rival, they give the other one life while the other one dead, or try to give a death penalty, and I wouldn't play that game. So they deemed me with too much influence and unable to control me. So they ended up sending me to the USP Supermax ADX. And I did my last 12 and a half years at Supermax ADX, where, like I said, I was around the Unabomber, every bomber, every serial killer, the worstest of the worst, what society considers the worstest of the worst in America. That's the Supermax, most Supermax penitentiary in America by the Fed. So I ended up staying there, and through my travels, I ended up altogether doing right at 28 years. Right at 28 years in the federal system. I got a reprieve when the judge they They said that I wasn't with the lack of evidence they had against me. The fact they had never had nothing concrete on me. I never had been arrested with nothing. I never even been caught with a gun. Never been caught with dope. But yet still, I got the most time of everybody out of conspiracy because of what people were saying, who I was as the leader, and the influence that I had out on the street and the fear that they had for their lives.
Witness number 36 of 112 stated Sebastian Richards, a.k.a. Bam Bam, was observed in the middle of Christian Street in what appeared to be a wild, wild west shootout in broad daylight as opposing shooter was fleeing. Co-defender Big Don Wilson, was observed seemingly trying to calm Richardson down due to the many witnesses present. Witness stated Wilson said, "It's too many people out here to do this now." Witness number 46. Witness number 46, also a member of the Shreveport Police Department, known mainly for harassing the bottom boys and relieving them of their money and drugs illegally. This witness stated that his superior officer informed him that the bottom boys had a contract on his head and to be very careful while patrolling that area. He also stated that a call came in to the station that a fire was set in front of the neighborhood convenience store on Fannin Street. He, being cautious, approached the store from the rear of Travis Street. After hearing gunshots, he realized he was struck twice, noting two silhouettes in the direction from whence the shots were fired, one short and the other tall, familiar modus operandi of the bottom boy formation, and took an assumptive ID that this could only be none other than Bam Bam and Big Don, rarely seen apart. Witness number 7. Witness 70 stated that early in Bam's bottom boy years, he witnessed Bam getting into an argument with bottom club owner of the Silver Dollar. The club owner pulled a .357 caliber gun from behind the bar and made it visible to Bam Bam, told him to get out of his club. It is rumored that the argument was over the club owner giving an underage girl dope to sell for him. Bam left the club, went to the gas station, put gas in 4 gin bottles, stuffed rags in them, came back through the back door, lit the bottles, threw one behind the bar, one in the DJ booth, one on the dance floor, and one in the lobby. As about 50 people tried to exit the burning building, Bam ran towards the club owner, shooting him once in the neck and a bystander once in the face as the club went up in smoke.
What up, this your boy Big Papa, Bottom Boy Finest, straight out that bottom. I'm here today to talk about somebody very special to me, who I've been around from my neighborhood, and man, it's a crazy story, bro. So I'm here to talk about Sebastian Richardson, aka Bam Bam. Man, I was a youngin' running through the bottom, and I used to always come up and down Fannin Street, and I used to see Bam Bam. So around that time, this when the ghetto boys had my mind playing tricks on me.
At night I can't sleep, I toss and turn, candlesticks in the dark, visions of bodies being burned. 4 walls just staring at a nigga. I'm paranoid, sleeping with my finger on the trigger. My mother's always stressing I ain't living right, but I ain't going out without a fight. See, every time my eyes close, I start sweating and blood starts coming out my nose. It's somebody watching the act, but I don't know who it is, so I'm watching my back. I can see him when I'm deep in the covers. When I awake, I don't see the motherfucker. He owns a black hat like I own, a black suit and a cane like my own. Some might say take a chill, B, but fuck that shit. There's a nigga trying to kill me. I'm popping in the clip when the wind blows. Every 20 seconds got me peeping out my window, investigating the joint for traps, taking my telephone for texts. I'm staring at the woman on the corner. It's fucked up when your mind's playing tricks on you.
So I used to always think Bam Bam was Bushwick Bill, because Bam Bam used to always wear that little funny hat like Bushwick Bill. And I used to hear a lot about him like, man, Bam Bam, I'ma cut your head off. Bam Bam, I'ma cut your arms off. Bam Bam, I'ma do this. So I used to see him, but I used to stay far away from him because I was a youngin' running through the bottom on Fannin Street, and I ain't want to play no games with him, you know what I'm saying? But as I got older, and I started seeing my dad. My dad was his big homie. And I seen him and my daddy were like this when I was little too. So I was like, man, my daddy hanging with him. So I wonder what my daddy be doing. You know what I'm saying? So as I got older and older, I got to know Bam Bam on through the bottom. They left in 1994. It's like the movie just stopped right there and said to be continued. You know, the feds hit our hood in 1994. I was getting out of school. My mom was walking me from George P. Hendricks. We was coming down Fannin Street, and I looked up. It was the helicopter flying over the bottom, and the dude was waving at me like this. So I didn't know what was going on, so I got on the corner right there, Fannin and Christian, and the federal agent was walking up the sidewalk, had FBI on his shirt, and he walked up and said, he had a Coke in his hand. I'll never forget. He said, "You want a Coke, little man?" I said, "No, I don't want no Coke." And this a lady was on side of me. She said, "You ought to be glad they cleaned this neighborhood up." And like we split it up. It's like it said to be continued from right there. So we end up moving out the bottom to Allendale. Well, before we moved, our house caught on fire. So my mom, she was, everybody, from down here, mama pretty much had a rough life. She was going through some things, drugs, all that. We ended up moving in the shelter in the Providence house. So I went to going to school way on the other side of town, Arthur Circle. So boom, the bottom closed down, everything, years go by. When I'm rapping and I say something about the bottom, everything I'm saying is true, because that's what we went through in the bottom, putting the inner tube on the gas meter, stealing water, stealing electric. Not everybody, but I'm talking about us. We had it rough. At them times there, man, the people that really took care of us was gone. The feds done took them. Like, you could talk some bad stuff about Bam or whoever you want to, but I can say they took care of us. They took care of us. It wasn't nothing but love. And I also noticed they only react when people come messing with them or somebody come, you know what I'm saying?
What do I think about 50 Cent and being him having that G Unit? He opening up the Millennium Studio down there in the bottom area, which is actually the big area that I ran around in and I was born in. I mean, I think it's a good thing because prayerfully it's going to bring some jobs to the community. It's going to get some things out here for all of us. But actually, I really didn't first I ever heard anything really about 50 Cent was I really was only I was limited to the rap music I listened to. I listened to Scarface, Tupac, and DOC, and Easy E, and that was basically it. But I actually first heard about 50 Cent when I was locked up in Lewisburg. Now my partner, my homeboy out of New York named Tut, King Tut. Actually, here's this picture of King Tut, as you know. And King Tut he was mentioned in one of, from what they was telling me, he was mentioned in one of 50 Cent's songs, in which way I think he stated that Tut got knocked. No, Tupac got shot in that thing. I know Tut got knocked.
Every night I talk to God, but he don't say nothing back. I know he protected me, but I still stay with my gat and my nightmares. Niggas keep pulling checks on me. Cypher said some bitch done put a hex on me. The feds didn't know much when Pop got shot. I got a kite from the pins that told me Tuck got knocked.
And everything, and I had already knew though before then that Tut had been accused of the one who had shot Tupac, because me and Tut was in 2 penitentiaries together. That's how we got so tight. We was in Leavenworth together, and then we was again in Lewisburg. And Lewisburg is when he was taken back to court. But during that time and everything, he had already made me aware of it. That's why he kind of stayed clear of the California dudes there, because he didn't know how they was feeling or they beefing with that. But like I said, King Tut, he was he went back to court. They tried to take him back to court on that thing for shooting Tupac in the elevator when he robbed, not the murder of him, but the shooting him when he's robbed. They alleged to say that Tupac I did him as the one who robbed him in the elevator and everything like that. But it wasn't about him shooting Tupac. It was about the fact that King Tut had a rep. He had a rep as a stick-up boy in New York and everything, but he also had a rep as not really giving an F about the police there. He actually, to my understanding, did kill a police in a shootout, alleged, so that's when I heard about 50, that's when people that 50 Cent did 50 Cent that. I listened to it a little bit because our me and Tut had become, we had become real tight friends because, like I said, we was in Leavenworth together, and like I said, they say stick up boy out there. He was still smooth. He was still smooth with his game in there. I mean, Tut was, laid back, real preppy dude. But if you see a move, he gonna make it. I see guys come in, they get off the bus, they from around this way, not necessarily around this way, but they from certain parts and going on here, ease up to them and have a conversation. If they got some jewelry on, if they got some jewelry or they got some money, you can believe you gonna see him. You gonna see him with that jewelry. You gonna see him with that jewelry. They gonna get paid off of it. I know he ran into a little bad incident one time, shortly, because one little dude wasn't going for it, and he ended up getting a blade put to the side of his face. But he was who he was, man. He did his thing. But basically, that's when he come into the story, and that's when I first heard about 50 Cent. And like I said, I finally got to go down to VIP. I got an invitation to the VIP, and I went down there, and me and Big Papa, and we was loving what we was hearing. We was encouraged by the possibility of coming here and making this like another Las Vegas and making it an entertainment capital and doing stuff for the people around here, and hopefully bringing the way of living up a level here in Shreveport, Louisiana, and prayerfully, all of us can be a part of that by, putting our 2 cents in and doing our thing. But yeah, that's how I know about 50, and like I said, how I feel about him being in my area when it used to be the bottom right now. I mean, I'm happy for anybody to be there that's going to be doing something positive. Oh, the reason I did this obituary and sent it out to the street was because every time that I went to court and every time my co-defendant get me in court on an issue that based on public safety factor, they would deny me. They would actually say the judge he would review it and going on. He said, well, yes, Mr. Richardson does have this going, but it does not override the safety factor, the public safety factor. And my lawyer, when I went back to court, when they took the 2 bodies off, I went there and my lawyer had filed to find out what was going on with that public safety factor every time that I went up for an issue. And it was up to the judge discretion base, but he did it in camera view of the deal that the DA had made with a majority of the witnesses who testified against me. And most of the witnesses had said they was not going to testify against us or me unless that they could assure that I got a life sentence or that I got most time of them all. They said they didn't care what happened with the rest. They said they wanted to make sure that Bam Bam, for some reason, they felt like if I had got out that I would have done something or whatever and going on. But the fact is that the DA made this promise to these people, and when we argued it, the judge said that it's not a legitimate promise because the DA does not have the authority to give the time out. The time is going by the guidelines and everything. So even though he told this to the people, he does not have the authority to do this here. So therefore, we didn't have no issue, or I didn't have no issue to get back on it. But yet and still, that public safety factor was a thing that was determining whether the judge would say, "What is it worth taking a chance and letting him out here?" Because they were saying that if I come out here and probably did something stupid, that the courts could probably be sued because they had this DA that made this promise to these people. So it was going back and forth, and then so therefore I finally, once I heard that, and I came back and I started working on it, talking to different people, trying to figure what I could do. And that's when I just went to this Machiavellian tactic. I just went on. I put together my obituary, and I had different homeboys to send it out there because I couldn't send my own obituary out there. So I had different homeboys to send it out there to different addresses and different people that I know, prayerfully hoping that people would think that I was dead. So once they thought that I was dead, they would quick running to the judge because they said to the DA, because they said as soon as somebody would call out there, and they said, well, Bam got this, as soon as my co-defendants, because I didn't call out there. As soon as one of my co-defendants said, well, yeah, Doug working on this for Bam, And Bam got some action, and Bam coming out here where people were hearing it, and they were running, they was calling the DA office, and then they was calling, the DA was contacting the courts, and they were like, hey, what's this thing about Bam finna get out? You told me, what's this about Bam finna get out going on? So I was actually trying to make them believe that I was dead so that they would no longer run to the courts, and hopefully I could slide on through and get out of there, because I mean, at that stage in my life, I don't give a hoot about, I give a hoot about, I cared about getting back out here, getting with my family, and getting my life together. So I wasn't even focused on them no more, because I knew what the courts do. I know how the feds manipulate. I know how the feds do. So that wasn't my objective. And the fact that they still had that on their heart when I didn't have that on my heart, I felt like I should fake my death, and so that they wouldn't go run to the DA, and then I get the opportunity to come on out and go on with my life. So that's the reason for that obituary, and my, it caused me a whole lot of, hoopla from my sister and from different people who they got mad at me when they found out that it was there. But some people didn't believe it, and more people believed it than I would have thought. But I mean, I think it achieved its objective.
On Sprague Street, and every understand Sprague Street. Sprague. That's a French spelling because we are on the parishes. See, when you see Sprague, somebody say Sprague, so they can't look up the street. You got to look up Sprague, because that is the French definition of it.
Got it.
My name Sebastian come from French. You see, people, we got parishes. We don't have counties. We don't got counties. It's so much history behind this place of the thing they did, because you had to dig this way. But when we started digging our own way, it was opposition. When you dug your own way and we had to scourge all that stuff, people died on the side of them things, with them boats they was pushing that look through. I think, if I remember correctly, I think it was like 60 people died within that. And most of them were black folk.
I didn't know that.
But that was caused of war, because you were clearing the land for a better way.
Wow.
But when we do this, what it is, we're blight on society.
Absolutely.
We're blight on society because we do not contribute to your financial desires or whatever. Because what we're doing is for our financial, even with us. We just go around as bottom boy. We go down there and check neighborhood. Police didn't want us to stop violence in the neighborhood. They didn't want us stopping that. When we go around and tell the neighborhood, man, look here, we don't mind that foolishness going on, but them cheering and stuff safe. That's why we in this situation we are now. If you mess with them cheering, we gonna come in and touch you. Police ready to get us. They ain't care nothing about getting them people.
Yeah.
Because they want to exploit that. Because more violence creates violence. You know what I'm saying? If we can keep that violence contained, that's what the whole thing about the St. Paul bottom experiment, keeping all the drugs contained. So now, if you can keep the violence attained to certain neighborhoods, come on, keep this neighbor. Them police will sit there and watch 10 people. I mean, I watched when I was at Richard Play. I watched them youngsters go up there. I said, man, them motherfuckers going up there. They going to do something. And then, boom, boom, next thing, the police cars going up there to survey the area that been shot up. Okay, then I just got out, and why? If you understand, police actually get on the Facebook and monitor this bull crap. I don't know how to do Facebook. They beefing with each other. So why do you not have, Cooper Road is beefing with Motown? They were 2-3 ways to get to Cooper Road. Why do you not have them monitored? So why can't you catch these dudes while they coming up there with these guns on them, instead of letting them go do the killing and come there?
Yeah.
You got a charge right now with the gun. Why would you wait till they go hurt innocent people? You ain't got 2-3 ways to get to the Cooper Road. When you know Motown is beefing with the Cooper Road, if you know Allendale, I don't give a damn any place. They have only one way to get there.
Yeah.
How can you not have the manpower to make sure that when you see 5 dudes bopping with their head in a car, and you ain't gonna pull them over?
Absolutely.
Come
Absolutely.
on, man. You don't care about the people alive.
Yeah. Now you talk about Sprague Street being historic, and and it is. However, on Sprague Street, in Shreveport, Sprague Street is known for prostitution. Talk about that a little bit.
I agree with you 100%. Right there used to be the Pendleton.
Yeah.
Down there further used to be the Castle Hotel. This street here was a line from that end to prostitution. Yeah, prostitution right up there. The transsexual used to be up there at that end of West Coast. Everybody got their piece of the thing. But they offered a service. Remember, this service started back when Dr.
Yeah.
When Dr. left, they still provided a service that had been open to them. People was coming down. You can't. They couldn't run a service that it had not been cleansed from. So when Dr. is no longer in control of it, you got black dudes and other dudes call themselves pimps. You know what I'm saying? They started running it from Blue, all them on down. Robert Townsend, even Bruno, all of them. They come from down there from the Castle Hotel all the way up. This street used to be lined with women trying to make their money go on. So the thing is, it didn't start with them. It started with Dr. because Dr. regulated all the prostitution. See, people, it's sad and it's a way of it's kind of like you want to be sad about it, but you want to be proud that a motherfucker would do that much. I would like to believe that I would give my life to take care of my child and put food in my child's mouth. To sell your body to put food in your child's mouth, you look at her like she's a creep. You know, some of them did it for drugs, but some of them did it for their family, man. And so that's what you got to understand. See, you have to take things in the context. You can't let 2 or 3 bad apples, but now they're the worst of the worst if you listen to society. But those people there, I praise them for having it.
That's cool. Take your time, man. Take your time.
My mama worked 3 jobs for me, man.
Yeah.
If she'd been a prostitute to take care of me, I'd have been proud of her.
It's an interesting way of looking at it. It's good to hear that perspective, man. Take your time. Take your time.
Hi, my name is Chloe Haygood Duplessis, and I'm here to talk about something very special and very exciting. If you grew up in the Allendale, Ledbetter Heights, or Lakeside area, then you want to listen. And if you have friends, family, or you went to school or church in this area, you definitely want to listen. A lot of you may know me from my work with the Duplessis Agency, but we specifically work with creative entrepreneurs and artists. So, if you are from Shreveport Bossier, chances are you know what the Bottoms are. It's a neighborhood, it's a low-lying area. It's right in between Allendale, Lakeside, and downtown Shreveport. It's also a very historic area in the greater Shreveport area. Musicians, artists, politicians, educators all hail from this area. And a lot of people don't know, at one time it was very diverse. Now the area has seen better days, of course, but we are at a very special point in our history. My family legacy is very rich in the Allendale Lakeside area. My grandfather, the late Reverend Dr. E. Edward Jones Sr., was a pastor of Galilee Baptist Church for over 50 years. He and my mother were opponents of the Civil Rights Movement. My grandmother, Leslie Jones, and my grandfather, E. Edward Jones, actually helped to file the suit, along with many brave others, to desegregate Caddo Parish.
My name is Derek Hullaby. I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm a graduate of Booker T. Washington High School. I'm a truck driver for 21 years. My relation to the bottom, I was introduced into the bottom about 9th grade, going to high school with some friends. And that's when I met a whole lot of guys that went to Booker T. Washington that was from the bottom. And we went to school together, we hung out together, you know, went to football games together, you know, just hung out really, you know. go down into the bottom, after school, hang out, shoot the bull, get ready for school the next day. But all in all, the bottom, it's a good place. You got good people. People want to say it's a bad place. It's not a bad place. It's good people that come from down there. When I first went into the bottom, I really was expected to get jumped on, to tell you the truth. But as I looked around and seen how these guys operate, they're just everyday people, good-hearted, don't take no crap, but when they talk, their words were real, Once I got to know them and got relaxed, it's just another extended part of my family, and I love going down there. Oh man, it's just the friendship, the bond, the conversation, the love, the respect, what you didn't have or needed, you ask somebody, they'll give it to you. If they didn't have it and they ask you, you give it to them. It was just family oriented. Nobody went without. That's a family, a neighborhood family that I don't think is even exist in Shreveport, Bossier. Just the connection that them guys have down there, it's just unbelievable. They argue and fight amongst each other, and they rap back friends, So it ain't, they get into it and they fall out and they stay falling out. Now that ain't how it's gonna be. They're gonna come right back together as family all over again. When I met Bam Bam, I was down in the bottom, and like Bam Bam do, he want to walk up and pat your pockets. Hey, what you got in your pockets? Man, what you talking about, man? Get away from me. Bam Bam, he like the pocket check, because that's who Bam Bam was back then, pocket checking. But yeah, that's my first experience with him. And then, as I ran across him more, I know Bam Bam like to shoot them dice, he don't like to lose. He wanna mess up the crap game, but all in all, Bam Bam has a good heart. He's good people. He ain't that monster that people think he is. He's a good-hearted person, and he loves the Lord. But all in all, Bam Bam is a solid dude. He has that rah-rah in him when he have to be, but all in all, he's a good, loving person. Prior to Bam going to jail, Bam was the type of person, he loved to joke and laugh, and Bam, when you're around him, it's never a dull moment. He always laughing and telling jokes. That relationship with Bam, if Bam if you needed something from Bam, he would give it to you, and if you cross the line with Bam in any way, he gonna let you know it. He was a fair guy, he played by the rules, if you don't know him, you won't really know Bam Bam's heart and who he really is. But as far as outside, he's not gonna fool with you because he don't know you. He's not gonna trust you. He's gonna have to get to know you. He's a different breed of a type of fella. I never seen nobody like him before. Smart, intelligent, respectful, but at the same time, if he have to turn it on and do something to you, he would. And people that knew you ran with him, you got that respect off of him just because you associated with him. Because they knew if they done something to you, then they pretty much gonna have to deal with him too. So, the respect that Bam has is big. You know, I mean, for him to be such a 4-foot guy, 4'5" guy, you know, he has a lot of respect. Man, it really hurt to see all them guys go to jail in the way they did it. You know, it really was a railroad. I mean, it was a big picture that they painted that who they supposed to be in, and that's not who they are. Yeah, they did that to get them guys off the street. I mean, they really took a lot from the streets when they took them guys off the street. We lost a lot because those guys they are solid, you know. They're solid. They smart. I mean, Bam could help you with schoolwork. You know, he's a smart guy. Went to Notre Dame. You know, I mean, he has a great head on his shoulder. He's versatile. I mean, it was a big impact to me and to the community when they left the street. How I stayed in contact with Bam Bam was through writing Bam Bam letters and talking to him on the phone. I would call him. I mean, I would write him and, you know, keep him strong and give him positive things to do, you know, while he was locked up in there, so he can come home. He would only write me and his sister Jacqueline. He wouldn't write nobody else because he really cut, you know, society loose once he was incarcerated. Because at one point, Bam Bam didn't think he was gonna come home. But, you know, with me and his sister encouraging him to stay strong and keep the faith in the Lord, God opened those doors and Bam Bam was able to come home. He didn't even know he was coming home. But by the grace of God, he's back out here in society doing great work. He wanted to cut up at one point, and I told him, you know, hey, don't do this. Just sit back and chill. You know, don't worry about that. God gonna handle it. And lo and behold, I can't believe it. He listened to me, and they came to him, you know, in a matter of weeks and told him, Sebastian, you're going home. And he couldn't believe it. He tell me all the time, man, if it wasn't for you telling me to stay cool, I would have messed up my chance of coming home. So he tells me all the time, he said, man, you may not believe it, but you got a gift. I told him, hey man, I just speak the truth and try to tell people, you know, positive things. You know, I need you out here with me, not back there behind them walls. I received an obituary from the penitentiary saying that Bam Bam was dead. So I'm looking at it and I'm reading. I said, nah, I know this is some crap here because he only sent one obituary. If Bam Bam dead, he needed to send 2 obituaries because I know Bam Bam didn't let nobody kill him without him killing them first. It had to be 2 obituaries, not 1. You know, so I knew that was a piece of crap. So, but I did sit there and write him and make sure he was all right, and he was. And like I say, he full of jokes and games. So he did what he had to do to stay busy while he was in there until he was able to be released. No, there was none. You know, he sat back, you know, and did his time. You know. Bam pretty much, once he was facing the time he was facing, he wanted to be left alone. Because at this point, he can't trust nobody.
The spotlight returns is basically this here. John Burton. When I was in ADX, he tried to come visit me. John Burton, as everyone knows, he played in The Walking Dead. He played Shane in The Walking Dead. He played the tennis player in he played the tennis coach in King Richard, a story about Serena and them out of Shreveport. He also played the Punisher. You know what I'm saying? He's a pretty good actor. Then he got this little series called We On the Streets, and I think it's We On the Streets. But anyway, he had been talking to some of our homeboys out on the streets, and then later was talking to some of our co-defendants that he had came down that way, and he had lacked some of the things you heard as concerning the bottom, as well as number one, it's being an interesting entertainment thing, take it and put it in a fictional level making it an instant entertainment thing, but lacking some of the positivity that we had along with the negativity. So he was seeing a entertainment avenue, but he started to like the people as he grew down there. So he went to see my co-defendant Dunn, and he's supposed to been coming to see me, but they do not. Only few people they let have a couple of interviews. Is Woody Harrison did it, who I was down there with, Charlie Harrison, and a couple of serial killers down there. They let have interviews, but they generally don't let you let people down there get visited and everything like that. From media type people. And they consider him a media type people, so I was denied that. So when my redemption, when my chance to get out came, and that surprised everybody else when I got out, that gave me the opportunity to meet him. So shortly after I got out, he came down to Shreveport and we went there. And the dude, he's hyper, good spirited dude, down to earth dude. You would never count him for being an actor or a dude, being a dude or being rich or whatever. He's just down to earth, old dude out of Baltimore. The Baltimore dudes, they go hard, and they got a rough Texas, just like the DC, just like Louisiana. Most places got a certain group of people that got a rough Texas, but he seemed to be a solid dude, and I liked his attitude, and I liked the things that he was talking about doing. He was talking about the community. He was talking about, hey man, I want to make jobs down here. I want to create jobs. I want to create things here. I want to see everybody prosper out of this project. It's going to be entertaining. I want to make the best I can. I want to do this here. And this is what I want the best from everybody on it. And I kind of jive with that there because I want the best too. So anyway, after me and him got, but my reservations were the fact that when we on this here conspiracy that they got us with, the charge that I went to jail on, they had already caught an individual from who considered himself to be associated with the body. They caught him going over in Texas 2 times. One time in his gold bins with $1 million worth of change on them, yeah. And he goes over there and he get caught with 10 keys. Turn around, he come back, he go back again, he get caught with 10 keys, they get him out on $1 million bond. He turn around, and 2 weeks later, he going back over there again, maybe a month, he going back over there again in his grave bin, doing the same thing, and he get caught with 15 keys. They get him out on $1.5 million bond. Okay, now he's sitting here, and I felt like something was wrong with that picture because we was not going over there. We was not going over that state line. We wasn't fooling with that guy like that. No, we going over the state line because one of our homeboys had mysteriously, at that time, we found out what happened, but had mysteriously got burned up, and he was found dead, burned beside his car. And we was trying to figure out who may have done it in case we had to go over there and deal with the situation. So we wasn't traveling over there until we find out all the Nixon thing, but we ended up finding out that he actually did it to himself through an accident. But thing is, so this guy was steady pushing the issue. And the only reason I can see that he was pushing the issue is, and as he say in the transcript, as I'm gonna start sharing the transcripts in some of my Bam Bam Raw TV, but as he says in the transcript, the individual said that I went and picked him up and I told him to go have a drink. I took him down to the Palestinian store and took him inside, and I took him back there in a room, the back of the room, and I told him if he ratted, it seemed like he ratted. If he ratted, what was going to happen to him, blase, and everything. So when I came back, he said that I came back and I took him to my Camaro, my burning Camaro. Said I opened up the trunk and I showed him every kind of gun it was. He said, and I showed him every kind of gun it was. He seen the street sweeper, seen all that. Then he said when I drove him back to his restaurant, when he got back to his restaurant, he said people were standing in front of the restaurant just shooting it up. Saying they leveled his restaurant, which I don't know what he had got into that caused that to happen. But this is the individual going up. So what he did was he had already laid the groundwork down with his stories with the Fed. So the Fed go get the dude named Lord. Lord was working with the Right Way organization, trying to help children. So I used to get with him and help. I used to go talk to the gang members and say, listen, man, if you do want to get out, let him get out. If you want to stay in there, let him get out. But don't threaten his family. Don't threaten it. If he choose to get out, he get out. If you mess with him, then I'm gonna come over and holler at you. Now if he choose to get out, and he say he get out, and then he come back to y'all do whatever he want to do. But if he choose to get out and go to school or whatever, ain't nobody gonna hurt him. If he then can't go join no other gang, can't go giving up y'all secrets. But if he honestly want to get away from this, let him have that opportunity. So we had an understanding. So because I had that understanding, Lord, I used to go around with him. We used to get donations. We used to do different things. Jim Brown came down here. Me and Jim Brown got into it. But the thing was, the people got at him. The undercover agents got at him, and they told him to tell some, get some people to come down there, because they were trying to fix everything with what they had got from the other dude with the information about the bottle. So what they was trying to do was get us. They got us down there, and he's telling us, listen, man, Jim Brown's supposed to be gonna take some of us to California to be in part of this Stop the Violence program and everything. He said, but man, I need some people to help me to get this grant, man. So going on, I said, yeah, we'll go down there and talk. What we need to talk about? He said, well, we just talk to him and tell some stories and going on how blase and going on and how we need help in the community and the violence and everything like that. There, so we go down there, and so now it turned out they was undercover agents, and so what they did was they couldn't get us to say what they wanted to say. So what they did was they took a lot of our stuff out of context. We was like, man, that's most of the time we were like, no, that ain't what we do. That's not what we don't fit the format of no gang, because we're not a gang. We're a community where we're a neighborhood that raised up with each other. So they was having trouble. So out of all the video that they had, they actually could only use a certain amount of it. So it wasn't as explosive as it was, but it was just something they added on to the information with all the other stuff that the guy had supposedly got, which he had lied on 90% of it. And the latest part of it was when they was interviewing us and seeing us and asking us different stories, we wasn't getting the answer. The one dude actually got up on the stand and he said, man, the dude sounded like a street gunman. And that's what he had said about me. And the girl who, the undercover agent, was going by the name Tina Sanchez, she wrote me a letter. I tried to bring it up in court. She wrote me a letter and sent it to me. She said that you're not who they think you is, and you really care about your people, you doing something. So she wrote me a nice little letter, so they got you wrong and everything like that there. So now, when we called her as a witness, they said that she was in a covert operation that to go in and try to get her out to come to trial would endanger her life. So we took it and we tried to put the letter in that evidence. They said because she wasn't there to verify that she had wrote the letter and everything, she couldn't be questioned to verify the authenticity of the letter. And all they could do was keep the fake movie name letterhead on there going on. Because the reason they didn't show her there, because they showed me and her coming out the bathroom one time, and I didn't know that at that time, but they were questioning her. They was questioning her about our friendship and our relationship and everything like that. So she basically, I don't think she would have been a plausible witness for them. So that's why I was apprehensive about the movie people, because the movie people had to pull crap with us once before and turned out to be federal agents. And so that's why when he was talking about this, I was like, no, that dog had already bit me once before. So I got to talking to him and everything. But one of my things was, hold on, I ain't doing nothing legal now. I'm not doing nothing legal no more, even though I wasn't doing what they were saying I was doing. I was still in illegal activity at that time. But at this time now, since I've been out, I ain't deal with no drugs, I ain't shot nobody, I'm through with that there. Whatever I get, I'm gonna get it done this way. So that was my reason for the apprehension with the movie people. When under the spotlight again. I didn't want to be under the spotlight, because the spotlight was sitting in the penitentiary for most of my life. Well, the reason the book is written and it's titled Am I a Monster is because their questions bugged me when I was in the cell. I was in the cell, I went through all the stuff that I did that was positive and negative. and I tried to weigh them against each other. I didn't think that I had the right to make that decision. Also, though I've been involved in a lot of violence, I've helped a lot of people. I've bought children's clothes. I've paid people bills and everything. I've stopped more stuff from happening in Shreveport than I let happen or I participated in. So, in looking at that and looking at the environment that I've come from, I think that should be included in whatever decision making somebody's doing, because if a man grew up, a child was exposed to that kind of violence and everything, and he acted out that violence, that was seen basically only natural. The question is, why let that environment be there for the child to grow into? Why not have something social stuff down there to help prevent that child from picking up these negative ways? You know what I'm saying? Invest some money into the community and going on and help this child do something different. So the question could be, am I a monster, or are the people monsters who created me by allowing that kind of situation to exist in a child in a neighborhood? I wouldn't let that happen in no neighborhood. I wouldn't let that happen. If I had the power, finances or whatever, there would be no neighborhood in Shreveport or America that the children would suffer and having to be around them every day. They wouldn't, because I would offer other opportunities for the people who selling and doing the violence, and that would open up other opportunities for the children to be able to play out in the yard. But we take millions and millions and send them billions, send them over here, send them over there, send them here and there, but we don't invest into our own community. That's what I would do different. So the fact is, am I a monster, or was I created by a monster? So it's not for me to decide, because I don't have that, because I know I'm responsible for it. I did my share of violence, I did my share of negativity going on, as well as I did my share of positive things going on. For me to make that decision, I can't do it. That's why I've written a book like this here, and it's letting you know some of the positive stuff I've done. And when I go into my other book and going on, it's going to be more leaning toward adult and the negativity going on, because I want people to see what this negativity, though it may be entertainment, what it can actually do to your psyche, do to your area, do to your people, because your people suffer with you. But I mean, am I a monster? That's the question for my readers.
My name is Orlando McDay. They call me Yand. I grew up in the Lakeside. 52 years old, and I've seen a lot in Shreveport. And thank God for me being here on today. But just want to tell you that I am now a pastor. I pastor Long Spring Christian Church. I've been pastoring Long Spring Christian Church for going on 8 years. Been saved now 22 years, and so how I've come to meet Sebastian Richardson by way of James Gaston. I heard a lot about Sebastian Richardson, and I remember the first time that I met him, I was very intrigued about it, and I heard so much about him, and this guy named Bam Bam, and just the things that he have done, you know, and so, and I heard of his reputations, and also me growing up in Lakeside, me having a reputation of my own. But when I finally met him, I met him down on Fountain Street one day, and down there hanging out with James Gaston. And I remember this little short guy turning around and asked me what I was doing down there. And, and he asked me who I was, and I said, "Who are you?" And he said, "I'm Bam Bam." I said, "Well, they call me Yandy." And, but through that, we got a real tight relationship going on. And so one thing I remember about Bam Bam also, how Bam Bam, I always looked at him like a protector. I looked up to him, again, like I said, me being from the street myself, I often looked at Bam Bam as a protector. Growing up around him, I remember an incident I had got into with this guy, and Bam Bam found out about it. He would not let me do anything for us trying to get in trouble. He would always have my back. And so I remember I was finna go get this guy, and Bam came and interceded on my behalf, you know. And he interceded on my behalf. And so I just thank God. I thank God for me knowing Sebastian Richardson. I even think about now the life that he has changed. I remember when he had got incarcerated, I had heard about it. It kind of messed me up, you know, to know that my good friend Sebastian had been incarcerated. And through a lot of prayers, you know, continue to pray for him. I never did get a chance to really keep in touch with him. And but even the fact that when he had got out, I wanted to be the first one there to be there for him. You know, and so as he's getting out now, I look at the work he's done, you know, and how he's helping people. I mean, when you're talking about a dramatic change, I'm so grateful for the man he has become. One of the most impressive things I heard about Sebastian, when he got out, I knew he was gonna make a difference. Just by the person he was, you know, and I'm again, like I said, when I picked him, I remember picking him up for the first time. I think he got out in July, and he just made a year. But one thing when Bam Bam got out, Bam had a respect that, and I'm not taking anything from nobody else in the bottom, but Bam was always, it's just something was different about Bam Bam. Bam, and I'm not saying the rest wasn't real, but like one thing about me, I don't really hang around a lot of people. Just a very few select I even hung out with, when Bam Bam was one of the one. But one thing I loved about Bam Bam, he was very real. Bam always spoke his mind. If he said something, he meant what he was going to do. And so even now when I look at Bam Bam, Sebastian, even now I'm not surprised by how his life changed. One thing about Sebastian, he's either all the way in or he's all the way out. If he's for you, he's for you. If he's not, he can't fake. I've never known him to be a phony or a fake. But that's one thing I can admire about him. So when I look at his new life, how he's out now, I see him feeding the homeless. I see how he's in church, devoted now to his wife, even just devoted to trying to help the children not to make the same mistakes that he made. And I really admire him for that. The ministry that he's not trying to do, you know, and even how he's an advocate trying to help the people that's locked up in prison. And so he's always had a brilliant mind, you know, and I was always grateful to be connected to him. I always saw him as a person that was going places, especially when he got out. Just kind of remember an incident about before he got where he was. Sebastian and I, well, let's just say Bam Bam, we used to like to switch up cars. And I remember one incident where I was driving his vehicle and ended up going on the street called Madison Street. Well, back then, Bam, everybody knew Bam Bam. When Bam came on the scene, people started hiding their stuff, because they knew Bam, when he was coming on the scene, he was going to come take some stuff. Well, when they saw the vehicle, and I walked, and these were my friends, when they saw the vehicle, everybody started looking around like, man, what's going on? Well, there go Bam Bam, cuz, what's going on? And I'm just laughing, driving that car, and they were like, man, you know Bam Bam? I'm like, yeah, that's my friend, you know? And so again, you know, the thing about Bam Bam, if he was your friend, he was your friend. And if he was your enemy, he was your enemy. But the thing about it now, I look at how now he's taking that mask off, and he's just totally different. The person I see now, he's really transformed his life. The person I see now, just like he would die for you then, I'm looking at him really sending the same cause of his life now. To the point, Bam, we talk a whole lot over the phone, and oftentimes he would share his ideas with me, you know, about what he's doing and, you know, his future plans. I really, like I said, I admire him so much that I even suggested, Bam, you need to get some security. Oftentimes when you see a person fighting for the rights of other humans, and, you know, you have the powers that be that try to eliminate people from doing good. And I'm not comparing Bam to Martin Luther King or Malcolm X, but, you know, a hero is a hero, you know, and so I guess I would compare him to him. You know, yeah, everybody have a past, you know, but I'm looking at how he's now trying to change the future. But the things that he's trying to do, how being an advocate for people that's in prison, trying to help people on the street, young men, well, that put a target on your back when you're trying to help people like that.
My name is Brett Rogers. I grew up in a middle-class manicured neighborhood, Huntington Park, west side of Shreveport. Got involved in things I shouldn't have been involved in just due to a bad household and upbringing. They used to call me Little Oak. Then I did music. They called me Fatal Image. And I'm pretty much as far as you can get as a white boy in the streets of Shreveport. I got pretty much as deep as you could get. I'm a prime example that if you ignore what's across the tracks, that it'll come and sit on your front doorstep. Any problem children are going to find some place where they feel accepted and loved. You know, some of the things we do is we do outreaches picking up in neighborhoods. I've been to prisons to speak to inmates in prisons and jails to try to redirect their focus. We try to teach them trades. We try to uplift them and just keep them on a straight and narrow path and give them tools to be able to succeed in life. Man, being deep in the streets and realizing that I was a visitor, and I didn't realize it for a long time, but once upon a time there was a story where I was 17. The first time I realized how much of a visitor I was staying at a friend's house in Lakeside, and it became bedtime, and they started putting the mattresses up against the wall. And I was like, why are we putting the mattresses up against the wall? You said we're going to bed. And he was like, man, Lakeside, the Bottoms and Hoovers have been into it for the last 2 weeks. These apartments have been shot up every night for 2 weeks. And that was the first crash in reality that I could go home to Huntington Park and would rep, man, nobody better not do nothing to my mama's house. I'll burn down the whole city. But in actuality, I'm staying here and going home when they don't have a choice. And it was just a strong reality check to me for the first time. What I think I can do and others can do to overcome a negative environment, my big thing is to teach a man to fish, young or old. If you teach a man how to make a living on his own and give him options, then he doesn't feel trapped. And what I see in a lot of these places is a trap. They feel like they're trapped. There's only a few ways to get out. Sell dope, play football, play baseball or basketball, and it's just not true, man. There's intelligent people in these areas. The more experience from being a white gang member and a black gang members, I feel like I had a choice and more choice than a lot of these kids, man. A lot of these kids, where they grew up, that's what gang they were. They didn't have much choice. It was their neighborhood, and I was choosing to come down there and hang out because I found peace and comfort back then in chaos, because my household was so chaotic, and divorce and problems and drugs and all that. So I had I could connect with everybody from them neighborhoods, but they didn't have any choice. I seen a 12-year-old going out turning an electric meter over and stabbing it so his brother and sister could take a shower to go to school. I ain't never had to turn no electric meter over and re-stab it, man. Do you know how much juice is in that? That'll kill somebody. Yeah, Bam's my friend, man. I love Bam. He's my brother in Christ. And he's a solid dude, always has been a solid dude. And to see him turn around with the type of street cred he had, he could have walked out here and went right back to that life and done whatever he wanted to do. Instead, he's chosen God and Jesus and trying to do right and direct people, and I love it. Yeah, we had some history, man. Like I said, he was my friend, man. I ended up being one of what they called his white sons, which is funny because I was resistant to that because I had a daddy and a stepdaddy, but we kind of recollected it to like a godfather, is how we kind of came to an agreement. But it took me a couple of days to make a decision, which was funny because all the white boys, they wanted that position and couldn't get it. And I was like, I don't know about that, but we got history. Like I said, I love Bam. Man, I came down to the Bottoms, and the dude took me first up to the hill. I knew nothing about the Bottoms, and I saw a sea of red, and the guy who brought me down there, I pulled a pistol on him, and the blood dudes had to tell me, no, this is the Bottoms. It's not like that. So then he takes me down to Fannin Street to the store where Barney owned, and I'm standing in there, and some dude come up from behind me and grabbed me and said something. I don't remember exactly what he said. Something about what you doing down here, white boy. I'll gut you or something. And I pulled a pistol on him. And then I'm standing there with the pistol pulled on him, and Posse grabbed a milk crate and tried to come over his shoulder. And I pointed the gun at Posse, and then Bam got between us in front of the gun and was like, ho, ho, everybody calm down. But he turned more to Posse, telling Posse to calm down and put the milk crate down, which I was shocked about because, I'm thinking he would have got at me, but he stopped Posse from hitting me with the milk crate, and his demeanor, he was so calm and everything's moving in slow motion. Once a gun's pulled and you're in a situation like that, then he turned to me and said, man, do you know who I am? I said, man, I don't care who you are. And he said, I'm Bam Bam. And when he said that, I grinned and kind of looked away and was like, damn. And he said, you heard of me? And I said, I wanted to be hard. So I was like, I heard a little bit about you, man. And the whole time I still got the gun. And he said, well, look, man, you got the gun. You in control. You do whatever you want to do. He said, but I want to ask you to walk with me to this door. And he said, you keep the gun on me. So again, that's probably what was keeping me from acting and shooting, as he was so calm. I didn't know how to take it. So I was like, I can keep the gun on you. He said, you can keep the gun on me. Just walk to the door. So we walked to the store, and the door had swinging doors on this store on Fannin, and he swung one of the doors part way open. And he said, now you can kill me, sure enough. He said, but you're not gonna make it out of this store. He said, or you can trust me and put your gun up, and we can talk. And he swung the door open, and all I saw was guns everywhere pointed at that store. And he said, man, just to show you a show of faith, he said he whistled or something and made a sign, and all the guns disappeared. And he said, now you can shoot me or you can put your gun down and talk. And I remember being like, yeah, we can talk. It's cool, we can talk. Of course, I think urban areas suffer. They just do. I don't think it's totally all a color problem. I think there is some color problems in there, but I think really it's more of a problem of a mind state and a separation state of people not understanding the abilities they have within them, and nobody's reaching in them and instilling that and showing them the abilities and showing them that you are capable of doing anything you want to do, just like these people. Like, you have talents and you have abilities also. So growing up in an environment like that, I think it's harder because your options, again, we're back to options, they're limited. They seem limited. Everything seems closed in. It's real easy to live in a nice area and throw rocks and judge somebody who's growing up and living hell every day. But even children from my area, I'm a prime example. When you growing up in hell and you feel like you ain't even safe in your own home, it's a harder overcome. So I don't think it's a total color issue. I think there's some color issues in there, but more I think it's a mind state issue than anything. And I think we need to pour back into our communities, us cats who are older and understand that we need to pour back into these communities and let them know that these are not all your options. You do have options, and there are people who care about you, and there are people who will help you even if you don't have the traditional family and mama and daddy and everything else. Versus me teaching you to sell drugs, I want to teach you to do construction. Versus me teaching you to sell drugs, I want to teach you to go after your dreams and to not stop. You don't have anything to lose. I guess the only thing I want to add to that is 28 years is a long time, 27 years, however long Bam spent, and that's a time that you could become very, very jaded and hate a lot of people. But God worked on his heart, man, and it's an inspiration to see somebody who can forgive even the very people who locked him up. Because I want to remind y'all that he wasn't caught with anything. Everything, all his charges were conspiracy, so it was all people, the very people who he helped and was there for, who turned on him. And the ability that God has to change somebody's heart, even the law enforcement officers who kept him in chains for 45 days, God was able to show Bam them in a different light and allow him to forgive them. And it's an inspiration for, if another man can go through these type of things and still forgive these people, it makes us dig deeper in ourselves to try to find that same type of forgiveness and love.
The difference between how I see Bam now and what he's doing now, to be honest with you, is no difference. Because I see the same heart that he had before he went to jail. I see the fact that feeding people, going out, he was doing that before he went to jail. He was feeding people, giving people, anytime some folks, the people in the bottom needed something, little children needed something, he would give it to them, he'd feed them. So to me, looking at where he is, what he's doing now, he's doing it out free. Whereas before he went in jail, he was doing it, he was in the quote unquote game or whatever it was, but he was still doing it then. He was still buying children or tennis shoes and getting supplies for them to go to school and helping the old folks. So that he was doing that. So when I look at it now, the thing that I see it is with now he's working in ministry with me. We're working together in this thing together. We're trying to get stuff done. But he still had the same heart before he went to jail. When he was supposed to be out there in the street doing whatever they say he was doing, I never saw him doing. All I knew was the heart that he had to always want to help somebody. So when I see it now, all I see him is just shifted from one location to the other one. Just shifted, and now he's out here working in ministry with me, doing what I believe God has called him to do. But he was doing it before. He was helping people before then. I remember when they used to call me because I had a few when stuff was going on with the trial and stuff, which I never got caught up in. I never got caught up in the trial stuff. And I had some people that I was thinking about the other day, some people that was calling and was asking me crazy stuff. I thought it was crazy. Because they was thought Bam had money here. I said, Bam ain't got no money here. I just gave him $30 last week. He got no money. Well, he had money over in some other countries and supposed to be had some hidden. I laughed. I said, really? Well, he should have went and got it before I gave him my $30 to get that part for his car. Did. So they say, well, what you think? I said, I think that a lot of things have been blown out of proportion. I said, but at the end of the day, I believe and I know that God has the last say. Took 28 years for it to come around, but like I said, God has the last say, and he did.
Well, during my incarceration, I did my last 12 and a half years at Supermax ADX. And while there, I stayed in a one-man cell 23 hours a day. I basically never went out during the winter time because when you did go out in a cage, you had to wreck out in the snow, and I didn't do cold weather. So I spent a lot of my time in a cell reading, exercising, watching TV. And at that time, I was writing my now wife, Patty, and I was getting a lot of encouragement from her, and I was reading a lot of positive books. You know what I'm saying? I was reading my Bible, but I was also reading financial literacy books. I was reading meditation books, and I was reading different things, trying to keep myself calmed down because I had basically a volatile experience in prison. I basically had been pretty violent at the time, and I was trying to find a way to curtail that. So I was involved in a lot of positive stuff, but I was still receiving retaliation for my lawsuit from the staff. So I could look forward to being put in restraints at least once a month or once every 2 or 3 months. They'll find a way to put me in restraints and try to intimidate me to drop the lawsuit. But during my time there, some of the officers began to have respect for me because they see that I wasn't the person that the paperwork was making me out to be. I had assaulted an officer. You got time for assaulting an officer before, so that automatically made them mad at you. But eventually, they start staying out of my way because they see I didn't bag down, and they see I pretty much stayed on policy, and I used their policy when I had an issue with them. So while doing that, like I said, I was reading financial literacy material. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, books on how to create a business on the website. I didn't get far with that. But and down there, I started, my co-defendant, Big Dog, was doing my legal work because I basically stayed in restraints so much I was in the hole. And he did my legal work. And as he was doing my legal work about a year and a half, well, my co-defendant, Big Dog, he was doing my legal work most of the time that he was in jail. Basically, all of the time he was in jail. He got me a little relief here and there, but basically, they kept denying me on a lot of different things. And when I did actually come up on, they would say the public safety factor because of the condition in which some of the people testified against us. So, all my co-defendants had been released, only 2 were left for being done. And that day came, and I was so happy for them. That day came about a year and a half before I got my big day done. They notified me that because of the COVID, that they was releasing him early and gave him an early release. And that was a blessing. So they let him go. When they let him go, it was like an oxymoron. I was so happy for him. It was just like a part of me was going home. But also, I knew that would be the last of my legal work. Anybody put in anything for me because I didn't fool with other people about my case. So I figured like I said, okay, well, that's it. Then, I'm in here for the rest of my life. I was good with that. I was good. I did my time. I ain't never run from him. Wayne Perry told us, man, no, man, the old man, which is what we call that, the leader of the GD. He said, man, old man, he knew what that leader was, man, let him look at it. I said, no, man, I don't want nobody doing that because I'm good. He said, come on, man, old man, he fooled you. And then so he hollered at him, and then I hollered at him, and I went on and kept on. He kept on asking me to let him go and do it, so he filed it for me and everything. But I'm sitting there enjoying the time, accepting my time, doing my exercise, reading my Bible, reading my books, and I'm basically just like when my co-defendant went home, I'm like, that's it. At least me, I was trying to figure out how to tell my girl at that time that I wasn't never coming home. I had already told her that I got a lot more time in front of me. I said, I'm dead. I'm be so old when I get out of there, So you sure you want to stick without? You want to be serious about this? Because we started off as friends. And she said, no matter how much time I got, she gonna be there, and it's just simple as that. So so we rolled with it. And so when Larry Hoover did the paperwork, I never put no lot on it. I kept on doing my routine, and I could be assured that I was gonna get put in restraints at least once a month. So then, Larry, I get a letter in the mail telling me about that I had got so much. They had up the time that they had took off me. They was telling me how much time they had took off, and the letter was saying that I had received the time cut. And then they calculated it in the months and started calculating. And then I said, man, the way this time calculated, the reduction based on the reduction on the ratio of crack cocaine being 100 to 1, and dropped it down to 1 to 18 now instead of 1 to 100. So that changed the ratio of the time. And then the judge had also gave me some relief on some other things that they had found that had been put against me that the judge felt like it didn't apply to me because I had never been caught with drugs, I never been caught with weapons or nothing. So when they got through calculating, I got through calculating the time. I said, well, man, this eat up all my time. It eat up all my time on this case and some more. But I caught these other times, so I'm sitting here thinking about, okay, well, I caught this other time I caught, still gonna keep me in jail for probably another 12, 13 years, even if I get released on this. And then that's when Larry Hoover, he was telling me about going on. He said, well, if they try not to, if you caught them with charges in the Fed, so it's still a felony charge, so they should add it up with that. So that should be added because you still, if it was a state charge, it would be a different thing. He said because it was a federal charge, so he did a brief on it and everything, and we filed it and everything, just in case they was going to object to it. So when we filed a brief on it and everything, and he filed it, and the people, they told me, they said, listen, we're going to calculate it, we're going to put it on that, put all this in, because I'm like, man, I've been in, basically based on the time y'all took away from me, I've been in jail pretty much 12 to 15 years longer than I supposed to be. So they gave me the time, they gave me extra time. Like, I'm thinking it's gonna take a long time, but my argument never got past the records. When it never got past the record. It didn't have to go to the court. As soon as we presented it to the records, before we presented to the court, the records, they said we taking care of everything. So I'm still looking for what the trick is, because I never, every time something like that happen, I know they'll come at the last end and say, well, now we made a mistake, and then get back in the cell. So I would not let my hope get up, but I was elated, but I had to be careful not to get my hopes up because I had been disappointed so many times before when they didn't knock me down. They took 2 bodies off the case, off my case, off me, and they only took 6 years off. And that 6 years was running concurrent with the other time. So anyway, so I wasn't looking for nothing, and I always expected the worst in the situation. So they come back at me and they tell me I still was out delirious until the warden came by and he told me, he said, what, you gave the counselor the address where you going? I said, address where I'm going. You know, like where I'm supposed to be going. He said, you going home, man? I said, oh, you tell me. He said, yeah, we already, he said, I signed off on everything going on. He said, but he said, give the council the address that you're going to, and so they can check it out. So I gave him the address, and I said, well, how soon am I leaving? And he said, as soon as we get this information going on. I said, so you told me as soon as, how long it gonna take y'all to get the information? He said, as soon as the council, you give them the information, they gonna call it and they find out. So I heard him get the counselor my sister's address, and then the warden, they took them back 5 days to get everything set up. My sister didn't want to come get me, but they wouldn't. They said no, they couldn't come get me because they do not have a release policy there, and they gonna have to turn me over to somebody else in order for me to be able to get released because ADX do not release anyone. Only way somebody leave ADX, they gonna leave there with a spike in their heart because they gonna be done died and they gonna put a spike through their heart to make sure they dead. Yeah, and they still gonna leave in cuffs. So they do not have that. So the warden said he got to set everything up. So within 2 weeks, it took all together a week. He asked me what I wanted out of my legal work because I got $1,245 worth of legal work, and it was full up there. So I boxed it up. He brought me a box. We boxed it up and everything. And he told me another thing. He told me that they don't have the release thing. He said he's not putting me on the plane because I got such an aggressive background. He don't want to put me on no plane. And everybody is in an uproar about the COVID and with the masks on and people being real disrespectful on the plane. He said he wasn't gonna put me on the plane because of my aggressive background. He said he was gonna have 2 of his officers to drive me directly to the door of my sister's house. He said pick 2. And so all the officers was coming, every time they come in there, they were asking me, hey man, me and you ain't never had no beef. Let me be the one driving. Let me such drive. But I picked the rec officer because I know that the rec officers was 2 of the officers that I know had never teamed me. And I didn't want to take no chance on being in the cell with somebody who I knew had teamed me once and I lose my temper and retaliate. So I didn't want to risk that. So I just got some people that I know had never been part of the team when they came in on me and sprayed me and shot me up. So I picked the 2 dudes from rec and they got everything situation. But the warden told me, he said, you got to go through the step down program. And I said, step down program. Now that's what I knew. That's what I figured it was catch. That's like an 18-month program. He said, you got to go through there. I said, how the hell I got to go through there? You just told me I'm finna leave in the next week or so. They said, well, we're going to put you over there. We're going to put you over there for a week. And then we're going to release you over there. And we're going to send you over to the USP overnight. We're going to put you in a hole over at the USP overnight. Then the next, at 3 o'clock in the morning, they're going to come get you out of the hole because we can't put you on the compound because you're still a max high. Your security level is too high to go on a regular compound. Overnight, at 3 o'clock, they come get me. They put me in the van and everything. When they actually got me, when they put me in the van, they took the handcuffs off me and just let me sit in the van. But when I sat in the van, I was like, okay, I'm free. And then I realized that the door on the van didn't have no way that you can open it from the inside. So I said, well, I ain't free now. I'm still just like being in the police car, I'm still trapped. I don't have no control over me getting out and getting back in. So we just started driving. And I'm looking at all the trees. I had never seen no trees. I hadn't seen no trees in so long. I'm looking at all these different things. I'm passing by. I'm seeing people in towns moving when I finally going on this. And it's just like I said, you just don't know the ability to be able to see trees and grass and stuff like that I hadn't seen in at least 13 years. And one of the reasons for that is what people don't understand is because of the high supermax that I was in, I always was in a box. So now I'm just surprised looking at all the trees, looking at all these new cars. And I got locked up, like I said, I got locked up in 94 So you got to imagine I'm seeing cars and I'm like, I seen very few cars on the road that I recognized. And it was just, it was crazy. I was looking at the emblems on them, so I was just looking at everything. And I was like a little kid in the candy store when they stopped at the first service station. And I'm sitting in there. He's like, you want to get out and go to the bathroom? No. And I'm like, man, you gonna let me out just like that? I said, oh, this is a trap. You gonna open the door and let me go to the bathroom, then you gonna shoot me in the back of the head, say I'm trying to escape. But I'm trying to, my mind still ain't accepted the fact that I'm free. And, you know, they ain't got no handcuffs on me, they ain't got nothing. But my mind still think that I'm locked up. So I go use the bathroom. They sit there and tell me, get what you want to eat. So I'm looking at this candy because our selection of groceries and candies is usually repetitions. We got the same candy bars for the next 5 years. We got the same potato chip for the next 5 years. Now I see all these different brands of candy. I see all these shiny lights. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking for a payphone. I told them, can I call my sister? And they started laughing. They said, there ain't no payphones out here no more. And I was like, well, how am I call my sister and let her know I'm coming? And then they got their phone and they called my sister for me and they told her where I was and how long we gonna be there. And my sister said, okay, well, we throwing a party. We gonna cook down at the church and y'all welcome to stay and come and everything. And they said, well, no, man, we can't, but we gonna get him there. And so now I go to the bathroom. And I use the bathroom. I'm tripping in the bathroom. I go in the bathroom, looking around for how to flush it. And I'm trying to look. I said, I can't leave this, just in this toilet like that. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Then I walk out. I walk out to go. I'm finna ask somebody how I flush this toilet. As soon as I walk away from it and flush. But now I'm looking around. I'm looking all under the thing, trying to see if something go or somebody reach over there and met me this toilet. So my brain was institutionalized after all the years. So, man, I came out there and I started looking back at the toilet and the police, the CO said, oh, what's wrong with you? I said, man, I'm trying to figure out what's going on in there. He said, it's self-flush toilet, huh? I said, yeah. I said, man, you're going to see a lot of more stuff than that. I said, yeah, man. We get on the road, we drove in. They stopped me, took me to get me something. Stop, get something to eat. And they play with it. I like my rock and roll music. They played it for me. And like I said, other than that, they're talking to me every night and check to see was I all right. But I was just looking out the windows, looking at everything. I was taking everything, looking at the windows, taking everything. And I did that. When they tell you lay down, you lay back, go to sleep, man. We still got like 9 more hours. We got stuff like this, man. I didn't want to miss nothing. I didn't go to sleep, didn't do nothing. I didn't miss nothing. I stayed looking out the window. And when we finally sit there, I still didn't believe it was true. So we finally pulled up in front of my sister's house. I had all my friends. I didn't know she had contacted a lot of my friends. My friends and stuff were there. My family members and a lot of friends who were. My daughter was there. My son was there. So I was elated. They took me in my sister's house. I had never actually been in her new house. So he took me in the house and everything. Everybody was showing me so much love. And then my homeboy, Pastor Elder Yandy, over Long Spring Church, he tried to rent a limousine for me, but I didn't catch the plane, so he ended up getting his Range Rover. And he drove me through Shreveport, showing me how the bottom and showing me different areas and how they had changed. Then they stopped. It was like a low parade. A succession of cars, a video, a succession of cars, and then they took me to Second Chance Temple of Deliverance, the church with my sister and my brother, pastor, and took me there. And they had laid food down for everybody. There I see some more homeboys. They seen me live, so they come flying up to the church, and so I was just overwhelmed by all the homeboys who I hadn't heard from or seen in 20-something years, 28, almost 28 years. See them in person, see who was still living, see who wasn't living. and to hear the story. And we went back there to eat, and my sister had told me, "Come on, you the guest of honor, so you come eat first." And I said, "No." I told my sister, "This walk of life, I'm gonna let everybody eat for me, and I'm gonna eat last." You know what I'm saying? Just to humble myself to this situation. And I remember telling everybody on the live feed that I forgave anybody who I felt like may have done something wrong to me. And I asked everybody to forgive me for the things that I had did, to some of the people going on when I was living all their life. It was received pretty good. And so that was I had my Patty, my wife, Patty. I got to meet my daughter and my son. I had a wonderful time getting adjusted. I was staying with my sister. But I hadn't seen my wife. I hadn't seen my now wife yet. I hadn't seen my girlfriend, Patty. And I called her, and I called myself surprised because I had wrote a letter telling her that I was going to be released soon. And she had actually just got the letter. Once they go through our mail real heavy, she had actually just got the letter. And I called her, and I told her, "How you call me straight through? I didn't have to." I said, "Because I'm at home. I'm at my sister's house." She's like, "No, yeah, how you do that? How you do that?" I said, "I'm telling you, I'm at home." And she started screaming and everything. So she said, "When can I come see you? When can I come see you?" So I gave her my sister's address and everything. And 2 days later, she pulled up down there, and I seen her. And I'm out there. She's supposed to be coming, and she ran a car. And my sister done prepared a meal for us, and she wanted me to prepare the meal, and she got the house set up real good, table set good. And I was looking through her, and I seen the lady, I seen the white lady pass by. I seen her, I couldn't see her that good. And then I seen her come back again, and I seen her, she was just as pretty as she was on the picture. On the pictures I didn't see her. So she came by, and I realized that was her. So I said, "Man, something got to be wrong with her. They're too beautiful." So anyway, she pulled up, she stopped, and she got out. And she got out, gave me a hug in the kitchen. I took it in there, and we decided we were gonna get married at that time. Yeah. We did that. And she moved down here about 3 months later, and we got a house. And we started buying a house, and we got married. The rest is still being made. The rest of history is still being made. And during that time, I've been married, and I enjoy being married. I've had my struggles. I've actually had to get a job working at Wendy's because my lack of knowledge of technology is limited in jobs that I'm able to do, and with my eyesight and some of the stuff, so I'm very limited in the things that I'm able to do. But it's been a struggle. I come out here, I've been doing things. I've been sponsoring children to go to nursing homes and talk to the elders. I've been sponsoring children to go to parks. I've been feeding some of the people out. I got it in my heart to give back to the community. I'm not out here being a saint. I'm a human being, but human beings can do good things. You don't have to be a saint. You don't have to go full poster on being a saint. Just do as much good as you can and give back to the community. And that's what I've been doing. But it's not without my struggle. It's not without my desire sometimes to get money. When I run into a situation, me and my wife have a financial situation. It's so familiar to want to. It's so easy to want to go back to what I used to do. And then when I look at what I have, even though it's not as much as I have had at one time, I know it's mine without no stipulation of the police kicking my door in and confiscating it at any time. So I find relief in that. I got a wife that supports me and everything. My family supports me. My sister supports me. The church supports me. And I got a few friends that support me there. The opportunity has been there. That's why I can tell everybody. Coming out of jail, right after I got out of jail, I couldn't tell nobody about. I could tell them about jail, and I couldn't tell them nothing about resisting the streets. And I have resisted. I mean, it's been some. I mean, I've been pacing the floor at night sometimes. The old me wanted to get out there and do something. And I had the offers, I had the opportunity, but I done reject them all. Again, I'm not no saint. There's certain things I choose not to do no more, and those one of them because consequences are too high. But like I say, I've been taking it day by day. I've been working. I work in Wendy's. I'm working in Wendy's. I've been working. I actually wrote a book, which Am I a Monster? But everything's still moving fast for me. Some people come out there and doubt because they've been on a compound. When you've been on a compound, you have access to different computers and stuff. But in a supermax, they don't let you have nothing electronic because the type of men down there got money. Where if you allow them to get anywhere close to the internet, they got the money, and somebody gonna find them, and they gonna pay somebody to come get them or try to come get them. So we not allowed no access to none of that. So therefore, I came out completely ignorant of any type of phones, anything. And so, but as I go on every day in my darkest struggle, I always realize that it's worth the struggle is worth it than sitting up in a cell like a slave for 28 years. There's every struggle that I face is better than sitting in jail, allowing somebody to tell me when to eat, when to move around, when to do this. So every struggle that I take it on, not to say with joy, but with satisfaction when I compare it against what I left behind. So that gives me a boost when I say, okay, sitting in cell, being locked up for the rest of your life, opposed to fighting this little struggle. And so you take it. I mean, I got people, I tell people, my worst day out here is better than my best day in there. Dudes be complaining about the rain. I come out in the rain, people be complaining about the rain. I tell them, to me, that's liquid sunshine. I said, when you've been stuck in the cell all the time where you couldn't even feel the rain, just the opportunity to feel the rain fall upon you, to feel grass under your feet. So all these things here I don't take for granted out here. So my struggle is hard, and like I said, I'm trying to do some positive things. I'm trying to get my book out there so that I can do more positive things. I don't really want much in life no more. I just want to be comfortable enough to live out my few years and to be able to help some people on the way. This is about doing something different with the choices that you make. I'm going to tell my stories and y'all going to hear them, and y'all going to be thriving off the fact of the things that I went through and the things that I overcome. But you should not have to experience these things. I mean, all this world out here, we got beautiful things out here. We got our freedom, we got our life, we got our family. So check my story out and going on and understand that your life is more valuable than your understanding. And so I love you and go. Hey, thank y'all. I thank everybody for watching my documentary. I'm Sebastian Richardson, a.k.a. Bam Bam. I got a book out called Am I a Monster? It's on Amazon. But it also can be gotten through me and my daughter, Shay Shelster. All right. I also got gear. I got BXBZ gear, which is a positive movement right now. I got Avatar shirts. I got hats. I got those things. I got Bam Bam Raw TV, and we coming out with some new shows, some new episodes, and we're gonna be making it better and going on. Go to my Bam Bam Raw TV and check it out, and subscribe to it, and give me more subscribers as you can, because I'm gonna do something. When I reach a certain point, I'm gonna do something real special that everybody that's watching is gonna enjoy and benefit off. But I love y'all again, and thank y'all for being a part of this. Go to Bam Bam Raw TV, buy the BXBZ gear, the Bam Bam Avatar gear, and go get my book, Am I a Monster? On Amazon.
Every man ain't a king, and every man ain't a chief. Somebody gotta be an Indian. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to hit you with that bottom music, bottom music. I'm about to hit you with that bottom music, bottom music. I'm about to hit you with that bottom music, bottom music. I'm about to hit you with that bottom bottom boy survivor. I'm a bottom boy survivor. I'm a bottom boy survivor. I'm a bottom boy survivor. That bottom ideology is in me. That bottom ideology is in me. I'm a bottom boy survivor. 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 That bottom ideology is in me. That bottom ideology is in me. What is it? 94 was a hard year. That's when my whole life changed. Broke us up in a major way. A lot of tears and a lot of pain. People label us gangbangers cause they was looking from the outside. We laid laws and stood on them. We helped people, we saved lives. Took a lot of my homeboys. False charges and fake stores. Conspiracies, false allegations. They made it back, God get the glory. Bam did 28 flat. He did time like he had a body. The whole case had flaws in it. It's a good thing that he had knowledge. Tried to make the big dog fold, but the whole time he stayed silent. Ain't that L with a big spoon? Now the world see that we hard body. Everybody done made it home. We living life and having fun. Salute to the whole bottom family. Salute to my Uncle Big Gun. We know the feeling to be at the bottom. We know the feeling to be at the top. We know snakes when they come around from a mile away. We know a dirty cop. We know the feeling to be at the bottom. We know the feeling to be at the top. No matter how they try to make us look, we still rep 1100 block. I'm a bottom boy survivor. 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 That bottom ideology is in me. That bottom ideology is in me. I'm a bottom boy survivor. 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 That bottom ideology is in me. That bottom ideology is in me. What can't judge a book by its cover. See, this the shit that they did. They ain't give a damn about our family. They ain't give a damn about our kids. They ain't give a damn about Go. They ain't give a damn about Bam. They ain't give a damn about Reg. If they did, it wasn't that got slammed. They ain't give a damn about Hook. They ain't give a damn about Patchet. They ain't give a damn about Lil Man. They were like, fuck him, let him have it. They ain't give a damn about Dexter. They ain't give a damn about Troy. They ain't give a damn about Big Daddy. They just came to destroy. Oh boy.
Like the homie said on the track, unbroken we bounce back. It's a new day, helping each other in a better way. Better way, better way.
Park has become the real Nixon of what the things the bottom used to do. Nobody doing nothing over that park. We come to that park, we try to sell food, we try to do things, we try to rejuvenate the park because through rejuvenation you can get people to come out. When you get people to come out, and then you got to offer them safety. See, we have no bull crap. We get along with every neighborhood. So there's no neighborhood beef. And we're not going to allow them to come down there with neighborhood beef. You got neighborhood beef, then deal with that, and then come down here. Right now, that's what we can't. We don't want to be a part of that. And it's a public park going on. We have to protect our children. You know what I'm saying? We try to be. When we cook down there, we go clean up behind ourselves. We try to show them by example a way to do something different. We got to make them understand that your children in the future, it's 5 and 3-year-old children get killed. That ain't cool. We ain't telling you got to be perfect. Come down there, have fun, drink, do whatever's going on. Respect the park, clean up behind it. Respect the children in the park. Your children in the park, those stuff is held to a minimum.